They told us these were the last days, that Dowell the Prophet stood shoulder to shoulder with Yah himself. It wasn't a suggestion, it was a command painted in certainty, delivered from the pulpit beneath the glaring lights, echoed through every darkened corner of Straightway. If Dowell said it, it was truth. If you questioned it, you were rebellious, a ticking bomb. Only those who obeyed without a twitch survived the constant purge. People vanished from Sabbath to Sabbath, as if obedience was the air we breathed. His warnings became refrains, one monotone song blaring over dawn chores and late-night exhaustion. The sermons stopped teaching and started sinking in, like a chemical seep. Over time, his voice was the only one welcomed. Your own thoughts atrophied in its shadow, and the voice of God, if he spoke, always seemed to say exactly what Dowell would have said. Dowell, the prophet, was the filter. He was the answer. Every wall had invisible eyes. Phones clicked and hissed with suspicion. Rooms could be emptied for a search without asking. Words were measured in teaspoons. Facial expressions counted like lies on a ledger. Silence became both shield and signal. We learned survival was in invisibility. Discipline was reserved for the public square. Dowell loved a crowd. He would peel a member apart before the whole assembly, not to heal, but to hollow. Each humiliation was precision cruelty, a lesson hammered home for all to taste. If you watched a friend break under communal scorn, the message was a branding iron. This will be you next time. From there, fear guided us better than faith ever could. The prophet split us deliberately. Today's favorite could be tomorrow's exile. One moment you basked in rare approval, the next you were the Judas of the week. Dowell whispered suspicions from ear to ear, cross-pollinating fear until friendship was treason and trust was poison. If unity ever flickered, it was snuffed out. Apart, we were his. Isolation made the power complete. Ordinary comforts turned traitorous. A doctor was forbidden. A phone call home was betrayal. The world outside Straightway became a nightmare fairy tale, the kind where monsters wore neighbors' faces and medicine was a curse. The logic wasn't complicated. Take away every other escape, and flight becomes the enemy. Dependence was the lock. Dowell never needed a key. Relationships became levers, not gifts. Men and women kept apart, any affection scrutinized, every bond a liability Dowell could pull on. Loneliness broke us down, softened us up. Tired, isolated, and aching for comfort, we molded easier. Clay left out in cold hands. Then came the abuse, masked as blessing. Obedience was rewarded with hope, sometimes a promised husband, sometimes a sliver of protection, sometimes a night's worth of feeling special. Sin was dressed in robes, pressure and promises called holy, consent squeezed from the need to belong. We were trained to betray ourselves and call it faith. Money chained us next. New recruits came in with hope and life savings, told they were building God's kingdom. But the doors out led to bankruptcy. Only scraps returned for your sacrifice. It was known. Leave and leave with nothing.